In this series of videos, we're going to learn about carboxylic acids and esters. We'll learn how to name them, and also we'll learn about their properties and their general formulas. We'll start off with carboxylic acids. So carboxylic acids, they're a class of organic molecules, and what's different about them compared to the ones you've seen so far is, of course, their functional group. So the functional group that they contain is the carboxyl functional group, which can be represented as COOH. To write that out, you would write R C double bond O OH. And so as you can see, the carboxyl group in a way is a hybrid or blend between the carbonyl group, the C double bond O, and the hydroxyl group, the OH. And so that's how we call it the carboxyl group. You can see it represented over here or over here in a more condensed form. This is again with the R chain. This is that's just a carbon chain. So really what we represent here is what a carboxylic acid looks like. But if you really just want to isolate the functional group is truly that C double bond OH or the COOH here. So again, it's a blend of the carbonyl and the hydroxyl to give you the carboxyl group. And what's really neat or important to understand about the COOH or the carboxyl group is that it has a very, very high priority. So when it's in a molecule with multiple functional groups, it will take priority over the majority of them. So if you take a look at our priority list here, here's the carboxylic acid right here with the carboxyl functional group. And so its priority, you'll notice, is actually the highest of all. So it takes precedence over all other functional groups, which is important to know as we name more complex molecules. So before we go into the rules for naming carboxylic acids, let's take a look if we can figure out a general formula for them and even identify them in molecules. In fact, we'll actually start off with just this sample problem over here. We're skipping the one over here for now to see if you can identify which ones are carboxylic acids. So pause the video, try and circle the ones you believe to be carboxylic acids and briefly justify why you think they are. Then you can unpause and take a look if you're right. So this first one here is not a carboxylic acid. It does have the OH group, the hydroxyl, but that makes it an alcohol only because it doesn't have the double bond O with it. This one here is not a carboxylic acid either. It looks like a carboxylic acid because it has a double bond O, but it's missing the OH. This is simply an aldehyde. This one over here, once again, has a double bond O, but no OH with it. So this is just the carbonyl group, and it's at the end. So this is another aldehyde. So it is not a carboxylic acid. So far, no carboxylic acids to be found. All right, next up we have double bond O, OH on the same carbon here, which means that we're dealing with a carboxyl group. This means that we have a carboxylic acid. That's correct. And then lastly, this molecule over here, C double bond O with an OH. So that means we have the carboxyl functional group, which means this whole molecule is a carboxylic acid. So really the only two to be carboxylic acids are the last two molecules. You should be able to determine a general formula for carboxylic acids. So we have 3 sample molecules here. And really, you can pause the video, try it yourself, see if you figure it out. And then you can unpause to see if you're on the right track. So hopefully as you approach this, you decide to write some molecular formulas for each of the carboxylic acids shown. So for example, over here, I would have C1, 2, 3, 4. So C4, H, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, H8, and then O2. Okay, so over here, there's C1, 2, 3, H. There must be 3 H's here, so 3, 2 H's over here, 4, 5, none here, 6, C3H6, O, 1, 2. Over here we have C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, H, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, O, 1, 2. So from the looks of it, it looks like our general formula is CnH, 2N, O2. Of course, you need to make sure that within this CnH2n O2, part of your atoms form this functional group over here. Otherwise, you don't have a carboxylic acid. So our next step is going to be to learn how to name and also draw carboxylic acids. Before we jump into that video, please make sure that you understand what carboxylic acids are, what their functional group is, and how to identify carboxylic acids as opposed to other molecules.